what does it take to be in the special forces?
So when I'm going to say special forces, we'll just say SAS, SBS.
Yeah.
And then tier 1 US units. Because special forces now is just a huge organism.
Right.
But it takes, I think, and this is just the opinion of Christian Craighead, is that you cannot train to become a tier 1 operator. You're born to do it. Now, and what do I mean by that is, you have to have this certain mindset, physicality, everything to be able to do it. No one, I completely deny if someone said, you know what, I'm super fit, super motivated, I'm going to get into the SAS. Maybe you will, but if you do, that means you always could have got in it. So you had that set up. There's some people who, no matter how hard they try, no matter what they do, no matter how qualified they are, no matter how good people think they are, they just can't do it. And the thing, it's a theory shared by a very close friend of mine who I was in training with in junior para and another unit, and then the SAS, and that was his thing, is you're born to be in the SAS. And I completely agree with that. It's like you're that set up. If you want to do it, you train, you work hard, and then when it comes to selection or being selected, is again a lot of time I'm quite flippant about saying about being fit. You have to be really, really fit to get into pass selection, but that's not enough. It's just a tiny bit of it, because everyone knows someone. Everyone who's done selection knows someone from their old unit who, Jonesy could put 65 pounds on his back and run 10 miles every single day, and he could do that or whatever, and he goes on selection and he lasts a week. Just can't do it. And all these or people get further on it, and everyone's the people. There's lots of people go, oh, he would definitely get in the SAS, and there's other people who think, oh, I don't know how he's going to pass, and they pass. But there's all these little hidden talents, as the closet weirdos, or the closet ones who are running 10 miles at weekends when everyone's going, oh, what do you do? Oh, I didn't do anything. But really they're nerding out over military stuff, or they're going running and stuff, and hiking, and so there's that X factor, but you got to be really fit, but you also got to be really robust, not just physically, but mentally robust. Because that's the other thing. It's just like the daunting thought of what's ahead of you, which people want to, circling back to what I said earlier, create these monsters that don't exist, and the monster eats them all up. And then when they face it, they either defeat it or, say, go home. So that's, and so that might be, you're born to do it, and they should do some studies. I wanted to do one, but I thought about it about a week before I got out. It was too late to do like a study on, types of people in the SAS and SBS. But you got to be fit, motivated, robust, and being able to follow instructions and to assimilate information quickly. Because if we could have our way, selection would be like 2 or 3 years, so you could get all this information, but it's compressed into 6 months. So if you can't pick something up quickly, you're out there.
If you was to take like an absolute physical phenom, like somebody, once in a blue moon kind of guy, the fittest of the fit, and he wasn't to make it, and I know this probably happens all the time.
Yeah.
What would be the biggest thing that was missing from the package that he had to make it into
He didn't really want it. He was probably, people like that, one of the things that they're in love with the idea of being in the SAS, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely.
So they want to be in the SAS. They want to be able to tell their family, friends, swag around, I'm SAS. They don't really want to pay the price for it.
Yeah.
And then people don't realize what the price is, and then they turn up and go, yeah, no thanks. It's like when, there's guys who could physically easy. It all comes down to if you had to do it, and you don't have to do it, and that's what makes selection hard. Is that you don't have to do it. So when you put a rucksack on your back and you get given a location where you're going to go, and you look and you see, if you can see, because the mist might be in, but if you can see, it might be even worse. You see the distance of where you can see that big hill over there. Yeah. Well, you're going to the one over that mountain, I should say. See that mountain in the distance? Yeah. Well, you're going to the one on the other side of that where you can't see. Off you pop. And that's what freak people out. And then they go, it's not that. And if they had to, if you held a gun to the head and say, if you don't walk there now in 4 kilometers an hour, I'm going to kill your family. I bet they'd be able to do it. It's untapping that resource. But you've got to be, and that's the trick of selection, is you've got to be able to do it. You've got to want to do it. And if you don't want it, you're not going to get it.
And not to minimize the aspect of the special forces and like, how, brave you guys have to be and the decisions you have to make, and, the position you guys are going into is insane. But that lesson's applicable to everything, like to success in life in general. Like so many people, they're so invested in the idea of success, driving the flash car, being wealthy, all that kind of stuff. But the journey is just something they're not willing to take at all.
Everything has a price. That's the thing, is if you want to be, and that's the trouble what we have now is like, oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And then they're crying because in 3 weeks they're not making 100,000 quid a month. And you're like, yeah, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of failures, a lot of test and adjust. And then maybe in 10 years time, you might be making that much money. They don't want the bits in between, the work and like whatever job that is, whatever role it is, you're absolutely right.
As many of you know, we are independent creators and filmmakers, but there is a massive attack on us right now. Traditional media over the last few years has started to slowly die. They are no longer the independent voice that you first thought they were. That's why we've created Mulligan Brothers Patreon. We've built something special for our most dedicated supporters, and I want to break it down for you real quick. The supporter tier gets you ad-free early access to both video and audio versions of Mulligan Brothers interviews 24 hours before it goes public. The executive tier gets you everything that a supporter tier gets, plus more. Exclusive interviews and behind the scenes content, walk and talks, daily routines, unreleased interviews, the stuff that you don't see anywhere else. And finally, the executive producer tier. Everything from the supporter tier and the executive tier, plus exclusive perks. Access to our treatment packages. Be the first to see which guests are coming up and get insight into the topics we'll be discussing before anyone else. And you'll even get an executive producer credit on every single documentary that we make. So if you've ever wanted to support the Mulligan Brothers mission of inspiring change so we can go around the world and get these stories that nobody else will, this is exactly how you do it. Go to patreon.com/Mulligan Brothers or click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Join the community and help us inspire change.